Good morning, and welcome to Healing Light Fellowship Church. I'm Reverend Lydia Janacek. This morning, I'm going to talk on kindness, compassion, and grace. The Webster definition of kindness, the quality of state of being kind. Spiritual meaning of kindness, according to the Grand Canyon University, is kindness comes from the heart, posture of gratitude, but also sincerity in treating one another with respect and niceness. Kindness is more than an action when you interact with people. It's how you present yourself amongst other people. Your character that shines through you can be dressed in the posture of kindness. Kindness or doing good often means putting other people's needs before your own. It could be giving up your seat on a bus to someone who might need it more, giving a homeless person your last dollar. One of my dearest friends that is no longer here and happens to be Jamie's mom, Mary Witt, was one of the kindest human beings I have ever met. She owned a bar, and on the holidays, she would serve food for those that had no family or place to go to celebrate. And if you needed anything, she would give it to you. If she didn't have it to give, she would use her resources to help to get it. If she was able to, she was reaching out constantly to help others. She even gave a homeless person a car. She had compassion and grace for so many. It was truly an honor to call her my friend. To be kind, you can do simple acts like making a cup of tea or a cup of coffee for a coworker. It's one small act to another to help. Helping others can also benefit our own well-being, as it improves our mood, can help our self-esteem and happiness. Kindness is the way God treats the human race. In the Bible it states, love your enemies and do good and lend and lead, expecting nothing in return. And your reward will be great, and you will be sons of the Most High. For he is kind to the ungrateful and selfish. In the book of Luke, chapter 6, verse 35. The Webster's definition of compassion states, sympathetic consciousness of others' distress, together with a desire to alleviate it. Spiritual meaning, according to the Royal College of Psychiatrists, by Julie Head, states compassion is not just feeling sorry for another or an ability to step into another's shoes. It presupposes a movement away from a focus on one's own self and self-interest in order to go out of your way and help others who are in need. The Webster definition of grace is mercy, pardon, special favor, and privilege. From the Bible, spiritual meaning of grace, undeserved favor. Grace cannot be earned. It is something that is freely given. It states in the book of Peter, chapter 4, verse 10, each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms. Now, how many of us here believe they have made mistakes? Actually, there are no mistakes, just lessons. How we react to those lessons is a choice and will prove whether we need to receive the lesson over again. Did we respond with kindness and compassion, or did we overreact? I don't believe any of us here are perfect. We're all human. And I'm sure there has been many times in our lives that we can look back on in different situations and handle things differently. We need to be kind to ourselves and to others when those choices occur. This means thinking before speaking, forgiving before getting angry, and thinking about how long-term relationships instead of short-term pride, and allowing our ego to control us. Think about God's grace. It is defined as undeserved favor. Grace cannot be earned. It is something that is freely given. We count on God's grace. and how we're never judged. Of course, whatever choice we make or reaction we have, we will always get another chance in our relationships with Him. We have a loving God, a forgiving God. We need to remember to thank Him for all the beautiful things in our lives that we have and the wonderful people that we have. Ask yourself, do you acknowledge all the blessings we receive from God's grace each and every day? Or do we wait until we're sick or in need of help for something or for someone? Is it then that we reach out with prayers and meditation? As we experience God's grace in our lives, we should try to be loving and kind to ourselves and to others. In the book Psalm chapter 103, verse 8, it reads, "The Lord is compassionate and gracious, slow to anger, abounding in love." We need to remember grace is a total, undeserved favor. Be loving and showing kindness towards another. Sometimes, as we live here earthbound, our spirit struggles with having compassion with others. After all, we're human and we're tested daily on this. Practicing grace is making daily choices to interact in the world with courtesy and goodwill. That doesn't mean you disregard boundaries, but you give yourself space to be flexible with your perceived reality and acceptance and kindness. Remembering we all perceive things differently. It's like watching a movie. 3 different people could watch the same movie, and all 3 people will have their own takeaway or perception of the movie. One may think it was boring, one may think it was a fabulous movie, and one may think it was way too much violence. We all see, hear, and feel differently about most situations due to what state of mind we're in at the moment. Grace is not about perfection. Practicing grace is a process of trial and error. It is really about slowing down and being mindful about how we interact with ourselves and others. Think of it as giving people, including yourself, the benefit of the doubt. Grace can be hard to practice, but the more grace you can give, the more you will get. The law of attraction is always in motion. Choosing to treat yourself with kindness is one of the greatest gifts that you can give yourself. And if you can practice grace with yourself, you can more easily extend it to others. There are so many things we just can't control in life. Learning to let go of things we cannot change is difficult. I struggle with that myself. We tend to hold on to things so tightly that we get stuck. We need to be grateful for what we have. When we do this, it's much easier to act with grace. It shifts our perspective. When something causes pain in our hearts from either a loss or anger, 9 times out of 10, the hurt or the pain that was caused from another, it was not done intentionally. Most people aren't malicious and don't deliberately try and hurt another. When we need to stop and ask ourselves, what is the lesson here for me? Am I making assumptions? Do I have all the facts? Was there clear communications? Yes, I have had people hurt me, and I'm sure I've hurt others. I'm not going to say it didn't hurt, but there was a lesson in it for me. If you're in the lesson, then it's for all of the people that are in the lesson, not just the one person. It was a test on forgiveness, and yes, most lessons hit home very close with your own family. We need to not jump to conclusions. Be conscious and aware of how you move through your daily life. Try to be attuned to your feelings and those you interact with, but without judgment. We never know what others are going through. When we act from a place of compassion, you are extending kindness and goodwill to those around you. We often take life too seriously, and we make our lives all about drama. We should laugh more. Practicing grace is no easy task. Ask the question, how may I serve? Try thinking of others first. Reaching out to someone, it will make them feel good, and this gift of kindness will also make you feel good. When we do this, we get a feeling within us that comes from serving others that allows us to feel compassion. We all have things going on in our lives. There's no shortage of circumstances. Being nurturing and to find kindness, when we do this, we create balance and harmony in our lives. We have all heard the saying, it's better to give than to receive. We all know the law of attraction, so give kindness, compassion, and grace, and you will receive it back. Wayne Dyer said, you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. I'm sure you all have watched the movie Pay It Forward. If you haven't, please do so. It's an excellent movie. We should all make it a practice to begin each morning thinking about how we can make a difference in someone else's lives. When we make a conscious effort to help another, even if it's just a phone call, to say hi, to ask how they are, show your kindness. Sometimes we get so stuck in our own struggles, we forget others. When we are being compassionate to others, your whole day will reflect God in it. So maybe for the next week, I challenge all of you to pay it forward. Whether it's a coffee, a bottle of water, you open a door for someone, give someone a ride to the store they can't get there. Just reach out and find out how they are, saying hi and asking them what they need. Even if it inconveniences you, try to make a difference in a stranger's life. Have you ever noticed for some reason, when you or a loved one is angry or frustrated, that we tend to take it out on the people we love or are closest to? And it seems to be harder to say, I'm sorry, and to show them compassion and kindness to the ones that are closest to us. Show them grace. We all can have a bad day. Remember to walk the walk, not just to talk the talk of spirituality. Be an inspiration to others. I have gone to Panera Bread and paid for the people behind me, not knowing what they've ordered. My husband, as a truck driver, used to pay the people behind them toll. It's a simple act of kindness. We need to act from kindness and compassion. It's an easy task. This lifetime is shorter than we think. Time flies by, and someday when we stand before God in the next realm, we will need to see, feel, and know all we have done or felt to others. So we need to live our best lives here and now. Have compassion for yourself. Take better care of ourselves. In the book Red Cloud Speaks, it states, that body of yours is a temple which is lent to you by the law of operated through and to learn your various lessons in the material world. The only thing that you take out of this world is your character. Think about that. Are you being kind and compassionate? Are you giving grace? This lifetime, we need to choose kindness and compassion and grace, not only towards others, but towards ourselves as well. Our purpose here is much bigger than we are. If we dedicate each moment to the awareness of our divine purpose to serve others with the utmost respect and kindness, to truly have compassion and love, we would all be in peace and harmony in our lives. Think about the world being a whole. Together, we can change the energy in the world. It can be different. We could become one if we would just grant all grace. We just need to let go of the need to be right and be kind. It would spread a message of peace and tranquility. Imagine a world all using the golden rule, only speaking kind and loving words towards another. We would change the world into a better place. People don't think one act can't make a difference, but it can. One act changes into 2 acts, then 3, and so on. Remember the law of attraction. It's the boomerang effect. What goes out comes back again. One kind gesture, a smile, open that door for someone. Let's all pay it forward. Just think of the potential within ourselves to make a difference. Avoid living in the past, comparing yourself to others. Stop competing with those around you. After all, the ones that you're competing with, you chose to learn the lessons with. Stop letting your ego control you. Say the word sorry and take responsibility for your actions. Be more compassionate with those that need compassion. Try to recognize what we struggle with the most is our biggest lessons. I'll repeat that. Try to recognize what we struggle with the most in this lifetime is our biggest lessons that we came here for. What we're struggling with the most is our biggest lessons. You chose those lessons. Not only did you choose those lessons, but you chose who to do those lessons with. Think about that as you're angry, hurt, frustrated with those people. Remember, you contracted the lesson and asked them to help you experience the lesson with whom you're in the lesson with. So have kindness, compassion, and give them grace. For they're doing what you agreed for them to teach you. Years ago, I had a lesson that was a very difficult one. I was hurt and I was frustrated. I held those feelings for years. When I asked Spirit, how do I move forward? I heard one simple word, forgive. I actually said, you couldn't have told me this before? My master said, you didn't ask. I was stuck in the hurt. So we need to stop and think about our worst betrayal or deepest hurt. Typically, we can't believe the person that does it is someone that we're close with. We love them or care a great deal for them. Try really, really hard to look at it in an open mind and kindness towards them. Think about it. Did they really do it intentionally? Did you communicate openly, or did you shut down and try to be compassionate and give a grace to them? Try to be compassionate and grace. Recognizing this, seeing the hurt or anger from a new perspective can induce compassion in your own life. It promotes forgiveness. Even when setting boundaries up, as we all have to at times from a distance, you can still send thoughts and have compassion for them. And a meditation and prayers helps to do that as well. Trying to be more flexible with your thoughts and can bring more peace into your life. We need to remember we're all a part of each other. The God in me is the same God that is in you. It is impossible to disconnect or separate ourselves from our Creator. So stop letting the ego control you. Ego stands for easing God out. If you're having hurt feelings or you're angry, frustrated, confused, you have the right to your feelings by all means. But look at the whole picture. 2 wrongs don't make a right. How hard is it to say, I'm sorry? Take responsibility for your part, if any, and move towards grace. Let go of what is holding you back from being kind instead of being right. Sometimes we never understand why things end up the way they do, or why other people do what they do. But be careful what expectations you set up. The old saying is, they always lead to disappointments. In the 4 Agreements by the book of Don Miguel Ruiz, he states, if we live by the 4 Agreements, our life will have true happiness, freedom, and love. which brings us balance and peace. They are, be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personal. Don't make assumptions. Always do your best. He states if we live by these rules, we learn how to love ourselves more, not to take anything personal, and we need to remember God's grace is given to us. The golden rule is in everything, do to others what you would have them do to you. In the book of Matthew, chapter 7, verse 12, I try to see the good in all people and situations. Sometimes it's hard to not understand why people do what they do. We have to remember we don't walk in their shoes, and we don't know what they're experiencing from their perspective. Whether it is correct or not, it's theirs, and they have the right to feel the way they do. Hopefully, the way they react or you react is always with kind words, and you find yourself walking the walk of the spiritual being. So be kind and have compassion, and if you can go back to how can I serve, make this a priority. Surrender to something much more important than the human emotions. Be kind and find it in your heart to have compassion and to give grace. If we do this, we will feel the divine infinity power of God within us. You will start to see the miracles all around you. Compassion has the power to change the world and make it a better place. Let's be a part of that change. God bless you, and thank you.